we had a hug and he left. And I felt very happy, very, very happy. and tired. And shortly after this, him leaving, I went to bed. And it was, I often talk about this because it was a real turning point for me from that moment.
So what changed in your life after that?
I woke up next morning and it was like the dimmer switch of sensitivity was turned up or something. I was noticing just like the sunlight, coming through, like I was seeing it for the first time, or noticing it with that type of joy. There was a sort of a sweetness about it.
So you were more aware of...
I felt like tingly aware of...
Tingly aware.
Yeah,
okay.
of just being...
Yeah.
Of a sense of happiness and lightness in my body, And I remember this distinctly, how the ray was sliding across the room, and just, I don't know what I was noticing, but just more feeling about it. And I felt very, very well, felt like going for a walk, which is not something I'd been doing for a while. I was always driving about. And went out, and it just opened up into a very magnified state of happiness, like this. It was very noticeable. And I didn't want this feeling or this day to end particularly. I just walked out in it. And this continued, went to bed. I didn't want to go to bed tonight. I was full of energy. And but eventually slept and woke up, and it hadn't changed, this feeling. And I think within a few days, a deep peace was felt inside, and that has just stayed. But many things changed. The way of seeing, and I felt I was completely being reoriented somewhere inside me. Sensitivity about so many things, the way the world was appearing, and how it felt to meet people. Something was different. I was not really analyzing it so much. It was just all feeling at that stage. Yes.
Were you surprised it was happening, or did it just feel like a natural process?
I don't feel surprised. I felt grateful and very, very happy, joyful. It felt completely right somehow, natural. But I felt very, very fortunate. I was like this. I was full of the joy of spring somehow.
So how different were you from the Mooji before this happened, in practical terms?
I don't know. I was never much of a thinker, much. But what was different was it felt like something had moved in. A sort of presence had moved in. And something very quickly in me felt to call this God, you see?
So it almost felt like an external presence?
No, I don't feel that it's external. It's a mix, because it was very, very much inside, sitting inside this frame. It was, the feeling was like this. But I didn't feel like I was invaded or something, It just felt like something was turned up, like I was on full power or something. But it was distinct, and I knew it wasn't something that I did to feel this way, you see. It was just, I regarded it, maybe due to my upbringing and so on, like this was like grace, I'd use words like this without really knowing anything about what they really meant. It felt right, like it was like I was just good fortune or something. I felt very blessed. And I immediately began to relate to this presence, this feeling, this presence as God, This is how it felt for me.
Because I think you say in the chapter in your book that's biographical, that people realised something different had happened to you, and then they were quite surprised, not just surprised, but they saw that you were a different person in one way. So it was initially obviously noticeable to people.
To the people who were in regular contact with me, most of them was expressing a sort of discomfort. I could pick it up,
So they found it uncomfortable.
They felt uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah.
Not everyone, you know.
Yeah.
The friend who was with me from the very moment that this introduction of Michael came, she was very supportive and very present. But she's like this anyway. And but some friends who would come visit us to the house and so on. At first, they were really trying. It felt like they were trying to sink my newfound feeling, you know, like questioning it, and you know, have you taken something?
People have suspicious minds.
Yeah, you know, and almost as though they felt threatened by it. I don't know why, because I wasn't preaching anything.
And you also said in your biography that there was some miracles that started to occur around this time.
What I would call a miracle. I mean, some things out of the ordinary. And just how it felt inside, how it was noticed inside me. You know, like I saw that. I don't often talk about it so much, you know, but it felt like miracles for me.
Yeah.
In a way that if I try and talk, I don't know how it will sound to talk about it like this, but it was definitely played its part in my recognition that it was not my doing. I felt like something was being spring cleaned inside, and a deeper sensitivity and awareness about how totally related whatever happens here and how that affects what's happening around me. That was clear, you know. Unquestionably, it was clear for me.
And then you had this period, I think 6 years, where because before that you'd been doing, you were a street painter, then you were doing the stained glass, and then I think you removed yourself, is that correct?
I was teaching also.
You were teaching too?
Yes,
yeah.
I was working as a teacher in a local college, no?
Yes.
Yes. And it wasn't immediate, you know, I continued teaching for a while. But it came with the teaching part of it. One time I'd gone back. I never really trained as a teacher, you see. How it came about was there was an exhibition, I had an exhibition, and the local college, the art department came. They took some students there. And the teacher enjoyed the exhibition and asked me, would you like to come and talk a little bit about your work and so on? And so it felt nice to do this. And I went to college and brought some slides and talked about the work and so on. And very much enjoyed. And they asked me again, and this went on maybe 4 or 5 times. And then he popped the question, you see, like, you know, would you like to do a bit of, you know, part-time work, you know?
Right, yeah.
And I said, wow, yes. Yeah. There was not much to think about. And it started like that. It was very beautiful for a couple of years. And then somehow the head of the department, of my department, left. And I was encouraged to go for this job. It was not my heart's desire to do this, but somehow. And many people applied for it, and it was given to me. I didn't say that I deserved it, but it was offered to me, because perhaps I was already working there, you know. And then after this, somehow it was a struggle for me, because it required some administrative tasks, and I wasn't suited to that. And so one time, going back at the beginning of term, one term, and I was approached and said, look, you know, you have to go, I think it was in Tunbridge Wells, to continue some aspects of the teaching, some training, 3 times a week and so on. And it just popped out and said, no, I'm not going to do this. And it was a surprise, you know.
Yeah.
And I was asked, you know, but what are you saying? Please go and think about it. But as soon as I mentioned it, it's like my whole heart changed, and I knew it was complete, that I could not continue